Okay, today I'm going to be talking about Ken L. Wheeler, aka Theoria Apophasis. Now, some people have complained that I'm getting on his backside and I should be doing my own work. Well, I am doing my own work. Unfortunately, his work is rubbish and he's trying to change his theory into my theory, which is what I'll be showing today. A couple of his changes in his theory and the things that he has said, and the rubbish that he has said as well, to show that he can't do this. And there's some Christians out there who've been telling me that I shouldn't be persecuting this guy. Well, you have it backwards, I'm afraid. There is a scripture in the Bible, and it says, if you are involved in worldly things and find yourself going to court over worldly things, you should go see the man who is taking you to court, and you should try and make peace with him. Yeah, I'm the man taking him to court because of his theft. So, if he were a Christian, he would come to me and ask my forgiveness and try not to get thrown into jail or be humiliated by having your theory shown to be plagiarism. That's what this comes down to. It's not me persecuting him. It's him stealing from me. And all these videos are a documentary about how he's been doing it, of times and dates and everything that he has changed. So no, I am cautious as a dove, and yet I am as wily as a snake. So no, I'm being clever. I'm showing his wrong work, his wrong words, and his changing of things to say that he now knows what's going on. So no, he doesn't. I'm going to prove it again. And if you're a subscriber of his, you should really stop watching his rubbish about magnetism, because it's rubbish. And here's the proof. Next is Ken's next video. I've taken an excerpt from the end because it's so ridiculous. He asked somebody to debunk it, so here it is.
Why don't you stick that in your pipe and smoke it? Why don't you try to take this video and refute me with some sort of logic?
Okay, today we're going to be refuting Theoria Apophasis' new video, aka Ken Wheeler. He seems to think that waves don't exist. So we're going to go through his video here and prove him wrong, and that is Platonic logic is absolute nonsense. I have said that energy and matter are separate. I'm probably the only person on the planet who has said that. Now we're going to see over the next 3 videos that I'm about to put up of Ken L. Wheeler's nonsense, lies and general confusion in the things that he's saying. Will show that he really doesn't know what he's talking about, and for his 50,000 subscribers, well, you shouldn't be really watching his rubbish anymore unless it's about photography, because he doesn't know what he's talking about when he's talking about light. I have said that energy and matter are separate, and that energy moves through matter and makes it vibrate. You are going to hear Ken changing his theory here to show and to say that light doesn't exist unless it's a harmonic frequency, which then confirms my theory that energy and matter are separate, and that when energy goes through matter, it produces frequencies and harmonics, as I've said from the beginning, and that Ken has not said. So let's keep going, and I'll cut into his video when it's appropriate.
There's no such thing as waves. Sure there are, you know. Don't be so literal, okay? There's no such thing as a wave as meant a noun. A wave is a verb. Yeah. A verb is not a thing. It's like, there's walking. It's like, what do you mean there's walking? I don't see anybody walking.
Now, normally we say there's a wave. We never say there's a walking, do we?
Yeah, there's walking right there. Really? There's running. There's swimming. And you don't see anything. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't see anything. So do you think waves are something? No, they're not. A wave isn't what something is. That's point 1.
Now, obviously, we can see what a wave is. It is energy moving through matter.
Here's Bob walking. Bob only exists if he's walking. He stops walking, he vanishes from existence, right? Okay, so light must be something, right? Light is, if you look in a dictionary, light's the big N. Noun, right? No. What do you mean no? Well, let's apply light to Bob. If light stopped waving, as far as electromagnetic, whether it's circular polarization or linear polarization. We'll arrive very shortly here at a conclusion about what the hell light is, okay? Bear with me, alright? Alright? Point number 2, if light stopped waving, meaning transverse, everything's right-hand rule, transverse electrical and magnetic, then it would cease to exist.
Which, of course, is what I've said. If there's no energy running through something, it will not vibrate, and so it disappears. It deflates. It goes into non-existence that you cannot see.
Light is a noun, but it's not an entity, but a name given to an inertia or an ether perturbation. Same thing, inertia, ether, 0 point.
And again, in one of my last videos, I said that we live in the ether, which is a giant electromagnetic field of the universe. We are a system within a system, electromagnetism within electromagnetism, electricity within electricity. These are things I have said that he is now changing his theory to. I have said that the ether is the electromagnetic wires, same as earth wires in your house, that carry the energy. So a wave is rolling energy rolling through the ether of our atmosphere. All this is on my videos for the past 2.5 years.
If what something is also only what it does, only, then action, the verb, is reified. The noun is reified as the verb. And then if you negate the verb, i.e. the waving, and then therefore the noun vanishes, then what we've done is reified something as a noun, i.e. light, also only as what it does, wave. But if we remove its attribute...
And the attribute is energy, which is making all the field strings vibrate in the first place.
Waving, we've also removed the principality of what it is. So, therefore, light, by a definition, cannot exist insofar as the conception that we reify it. Look up the word reify, okay, if you don't know what the word reify means. Therefore, we cannot reify light as a noun, as something autonomous, as something existing.
So as you can hear, it's absolute nonsense that he's saying that light can't exist because it's not a verb or a noun or whatever the heck it is that he's talking about, when in fact I already said that it is a wave. It is not a walking, it is not a throwing, it is not a picking up, it is not one of those words. A wave is a wave.
You can say that light does not exist because it is not a noun. Because if we remove what light does, then light itself goes... gone, right?
And so energy and matter are separate. You turn off the energy, you turn off the light. Try it with your light bulbs at home. There's a switch on the wall.
What do you mean light doesn't exist? I see your illuminated fat ugly face. Yeah, you do. What would that mean? That mean that we're all swimming above water, below water, in outer space, or wherever we are, we're all swimming in the waters of the ether. That is the f***ing point.
And so again he goes to what I've said of a system within a system, electromagnetism within electromagnetism. So he's basically changing his theory to what I have said. Systems within systems. You within the world within the solar system within the universe.
We're all swimming in an ocean of air, but we're all swimming in an ocean of ether. It's a field perturbation, for God's sakes. I've already proven, using hardcore Platonic logic, that it is impossible for light to be a noun.
Unfortunately, though, he's just said energy and matter are separate. You take away the energy, there's no light. He just said it, which means I'm right. Haha.
If we stop the harmonics and frequency and wavelength of light, i.e. the waving of light, we remove light entirely.
And so we come to what is making the light. What is making the light, Ken? You have no explanation. But I do. Energy moves through the wires. Energy moves through the ether, which is what all these waves on screen are doing. The one on the right there, that if you don't know what that is the... what the hell's that called? Sorry, yeah, that's an electric water bridge on the right-hand side, which is electricity through water, which causes one beaker of glass to empty into the other, and the other beaker of glass to empty into the beaker that just moved the first liquid, because energy rotates matter, and those are waves. So energy rolls in waves.
That human beings have applied to an ether, inertia, 0 point, I don't give a damn what you call it. Light is a concept human beings have applied to an inertia perturbation, which manifests itself in frequency and wavelength. Various colors, electromagnetic, radio, UV, X-ray, infrared. Light has no existence.
And so that's it for Ken. Whereas I've said that energy must move through the ether, otherwise you wouldn't actually see anything. It is a signal from the last thing that it went through, and when it goes through our air, it does not pick up the signal of the air, and so an electromagnetic signal hits your eye, which comes from electricity. Thanks very much. Okay, this video from Ken L. Wheeler, aka Apophasis Theory, is called "Since Gravity is not a force but an acceleration and electrical in nature, then what of magnetism?" So basically he's now changing his theory, where he said magnetism was everything, and he's changed it to it's now produced by electricity. So let's have a listen, shall we, to how he's changed his theory from magnetism to electricity.
Hey, considerations for weight. Now, I've already made several videos defining weight. I've said that weight is not fixed. It's not fixed at all. I mean, weight is location specific, it's medium specific, it's vector specific, it's magnitude.
Now, Ken has just vocalized what I've been saying all along, that gravity is an illusion and that only electrical attraction is real. So we are electrically attracted to this planet, and there are varying electrical fields around the planet. And so, yes, gravity can change, which means it's wrong. Gravity is electrical. Okay, in the next clip, Ken is about to change his theory completely. And if anybody's been watching his videos, all you'll hear him talk about is magnetism is the only force in the universe. Here is where he changes his mind to my theory of, sorry, you get electricity and it turns into magnetism when it goes around the inertial plane.
So I stick this little 4-pound magnet in some blind guy's hands, and he says, wow, that's extremely heavy. I know, it's only 4 ounces. Well, what does that tell us? Well, obviously this only weighs 4 ounces if I hold it over dirt or this wood table, right? Yeah, well, what happens? You know, obviously it weighs 4 ounces here, weighs 4 ounces here. Oh my goodness, it hit the metal bracket underneath this table over here. Now it's extremely heavy. It is? No, that's magnetic attraction. No, well, no, it's really hard to lift up.
And here it comes.
I'm being realistic here, by the way. Oh my god. That was incredibly heavy. Now it's not so heavy. Now it is heavy. It's so hard to lift it. No, that's magnetic attraction. Is it? Everything is electrical.
And there you saw it. Ken had a think as if he'd thought and said, huh, is that it's electricity. Funny how he's changed since he saw my videos last October.
No, that's magnetic attraction. Is it? Everything is electrical. Humans are stupid. It's because we perceive and conceptualize things as something different. Something separate and autonomous. Well, here's gravity here, and here's electricity here. Here's magnetism. No, all that shit is the same goddamn crap!
And so there you hear Ken say it's all the same, when here he says different.
That reciprocates. That's the point, the locus of the loss of inertia. 0 point energy, the ether, everything in the universe is electrical. But electrical is a field modality phenomenon. There is something that precedes the electrical. Because electricity, phi times psi, equals Q in Planck of electrification. Phi and psi, dielectricity times magnetism, equals Q in Planck of electrification. So electricity doesn't come first. I'm just saying that the universe is electrical.
And so there we hear Ken changing over to my side. First of all, he said that electricity is not first. electricity is first, and now that is where he is going with all his videos. He is slowly changing his 4th edition into my theory. Now that clip was from his video Magnetism Bends Light and Gravity, and so's the next one. And what I'm about to do with this next one is to show that his theory is absolutely rubbish. What you have on screen is him drawing his spirograph and says it reciprocates into the bottom. Well, he's already talked about the block wall, so that must be absolutely rubbish.
About a point line divergence. Let's reset that. Find the center. Curvilinear. This is the hypertrochoid. Reciprocating precessional hyperboloid. It's as simple as that. This is the pattern of the hypertrochoid.
Now, due to the block wall that we have there, which Ken L. Wheeler says cannot be crossed, and this is where the fields push against each other, right there he shows that the spirograph pattern won't work that way. And second, it does cross at the inertia line I've already said, which is why when we look at it we see on the north side there everything is going upwards, and on the south side everything is going downwards, but he says it's all going around the center and down to the bottom. So obviously by one of these pictures of a ferrocell he's talking absolute rubbish, because it doesn't do that. Thanks very much. Now back to his latest video again, which is since gravity is not a force but an acceleration and blah blah.
If you believe that, then you're the same thing as a stupid little kid who thinks that steam is one thing, ice is another thing, and water you drink is another. It's like, no, little Susie, all that shit is water.
So yeah, I've said that there's only electricity, and when electricity or energy meets matter, it performs a rollover halo wave, which is what is happening with the magnet, and turns into magnetism or electromagnetism and then back out. The electricity is inside the magnet. The electromagnetic field is outside the magnet.
Gravity is just nothing other than incoherent dielectric acceleration. You're actually able to see it and measure it. Like there's a Cavendish experiment where they use the balls of lead are about this big. They put two of them kind of close together and they'll actually deflect towards each other. You can actually see it, especially if you put a little gauge on top of one of them. You can actually see the deflection, how they'll accelerate towards each other.
This again is actually energy winding between them. One is clockwise and one is counterclockwise, depending on which one is at which lead ball, and so energy winds them together.
If you just keep hammering it, a flat disk magnet, which all its constituent parts have field coherency. Do you know what happens when you smash it? It will fold, and then it will fold again. It will fold and keep folding and keep folding and keep folding until it creates the smallest spatial volume possible. Shit, that kind of sounds like the definition of gravity. Kind of like when you take a lot of matter, they will accelerate towards each other, and they will form a sphere.
I have already stated that all energy will form a Ouroboros torus sphere, which is the snake that eats itself, and it creates a sphere. I've shown this on video many times. It's where ball lightning comes from, and electrons and photons and anything else you want to mention inside an atom. Energy forms a sphere, an Ouroboros sphere, not a torus sphere, but an Ouroboros sphere. And so there we have it. Ken L. Wheeler, aka Theoria Apophasis, changing his theory left, right and centre with massive contradictions in what he's trying to put forward. His block wall shows that his idea is wrong and rubbish, and so it cannot get past the block wall. But I've already stated in my videos that the block wall is actually where an Ouroboros torus sphere from the top spins around and then combines together and drops through the inertia line and into the bottom and then flares out, which is why you get circles at the top and circles at the bottom pointing up and down, whereas his little spirograph doesn't do that. It only goes downwards, which means it's wrong. Thanks very much. My name is Lee, and I follow the Christ Jesus and his teachings and his commandments. And I really hate lies and theft. Thanks a lot. Bye.